let's talk about forces, and we're going to talk a little bit more about some new forces other than the four we've already talked about and how they act on objects. Now, we start with the same statement: forces act to change the motion of objects. However, this time we're going to be focusing on the motion of these objects, and we're going to pay attention more to the speed at which these objects are moving and what that means about the force diagrams that you should be drawing. So we are working on the motion of these objects this week. A reminder: what is a force? A force is a push or a pull on an object, and these are the four forces that we introduced last time: gravity, friction, the normal force, and an applied force. Well, today we are introducing another force, our fifth, and this is the force of tension. So this is a pulling force that is exerted on an object by a chain or a cable or a rope or a pipe, and that object is being suspended by that chain or rope or cable, and its entire weight is being supported by that source of tension, the pipe or the chain or whatever it is. So that force is going to be an upward force against gravity, and it is going to hold that object in opposition of gravity or against the force of gravity. So let's look at an example of the force of tension, or F of T. A projector is hanging from the ceiling in a classroom. Draw all the forces acting on the projector. Well, here's our projector. Just like in our classroom, it is being suspended by a pipe. And so we need to think about what forces are acting on the projector. Well, unless we're somewhere else, we're on Earth, and there's always going to be the force of gravity, right, pulling on that object. We have the force of gravity, F of G, and we are not applying a force. There is no friction opposing our force, so there are no sideways forces. However, we do have a F of T. We have a force of tension that is working against gravity, and that is helping to pull that object against gravity's pull. This is not a normal force. The pipe and the projector aren't pressing on each other. The pipe is pulling the projector up. So it is acting against gravity. So that's how you use the force of tension. Now, I'd like to take this video in a different direction and show you some examples and how you can use some computer simulations at home to help you visualize what we're going to be doing next. One of these helpful simulations is going to be found from a website that is connected with Colorado State University. And here's how you find it. You're going to type in PHET, P-H-E-T, simulations. PHET simulations. And then you're going to, one of the options here is to pick physics, P-H-E-T, or PHET simulations. Click that one. Then it's going to give you some options, and I'll show you what you need to do actually to find the right simulation. You go up to the magnifying glass, click the magnifying glass, and then type in forces and motion basics right here. Click there, and then it's going to ask you if you want to download it or embed it. I just always hit the play button because I don't need to download it anywhere. And then the model that we're going to be using, or the simulation that we're going to be using, it'll give you 4 options. Let's work with friction, because this is going to be a simulation that will apply some really helpful values to what we're trying to do here. So here is a person. They're representing a person. And there are different objects that we can move around. And let's pick, a box. Okay. Now, we want the values to be turned on. We want the speed to be turned on. And then we'll leave the sum of forces off. Okay. Now, let's say that we're trying to push on an object and it is not moving. Okay. Well, I'm applying that force. I'm applying 75 newtons of force. Is that object moving? No. But is it moving at a constant speed? Yeah. Look up at the speed indicator. It says 0 meters per second. That's a constant speed. Now, what do you notice about the force diagram that it is drawn here? Look at the size and the length and the direction of those arrows. They are the same. Now, we're not on Mars. We're not floating around in space. We're not on some weird distant planet. So Earth's gravity is also pulling on the box, and the ground is exerting the normal force on the box. So an object moving at a constant speed is going to have a balanced force diagram. The applied force is being balanced by the friction force that is given by the ground here. Now, what about objects that move at changing speeds? Okay, I want you to watch the speed indicator up here. I'm going to apply a force on the box that's going to be greater than the friction force, and I'm going to get this to move. Now, my force is staying constant, but look at the speed. If I continue to push with 185 newtons of force, my speed continually goes up. That's acceleration. What do you notice about this force diagram? It is unbalanced, and applied force is winning. Now, there I go doing the splits. But also, I've let go of the box, and the speed is still changing, but it's changing in the other way. What do you notice about that force diagram? There is no applied force anymore. The friction force arrow is winning. That is also an unbalanced force diagram. It doesn't become balanced again until the speed resumes a constant speed. Now, in this case, that constant speed is 0. But can I push on the box and have a constant speed at the same time? Let's see. I'm going to push on the box. I'm going to get it moving. And now I'm going to bring my applied force down to match the friction force. There. Look at the speed indicator. I'm pushing the box at a constant speed of 10.7 meters per second. No more, no less. What do you notice about the arrows in that force diagram? They are the same. Now, I can stop applying a force and my speed will go down. Well, the box's speed will go down. I can also get it going again. I can also, once I have matched my speed here, or matched the forces, okay, speed's at 16.5 meters per second. I can also change the speed by applying more force again, and now my speed is going up. Unbalanced force diagram. Balanced force diagram. and the speed is constant once again. Okay, there we go. So here's what we know. Constant speed, even if that speed is 0, means a balanced force diagram. A changing speed, or a changing direction, is an unbalanced force diagram, and that means there's going to be a net force. That net force is which arrow is winning and by how much. And I touched on that in the first video, so you can go there and check that out. Okay, you're about to get a link to some more simulations, and you'll be told, or force diagram scenarios, and you'll be told how many you should try. When you've tried that number of force diagram situations or scenarios, you're going to need to take a screenshot of your final screen, which has the right number of stars on it. You'll be told how many stars to shoot for. If you get a scenario right, you get a star. We're shooting for a certain number of stars here, no pun intended. Take a screenshot of it and share it with me, or share it with your teacher. If I'm not your teacher, don't share it with me. All right, have fun.